So this idea that we're talking about is not something that is just us. But I like that idea that if the soul is deprived of what it needs and where it came from, that's when trauma stays, right? Occurs, sadness, all of those things are held on because the soul is being starved.
And that's why I strongly believe, this might be a little bit controversial, that a person can never truly be healed of any trauma unless there's a spiritual awakening, and more importantly, an awakening of the soul.
And let's just define healing for a second, because that's where it's going to get controversial. People say, oh, no, I'm okay. I've created a good life for myself. I'm on the other side of it. I think healing is when you have gotten to a place where not only have you grown from the experience, and you've grown in a way that's positive and you like yourself better and you're on another level, but to the point where you can forgive the people that have hurt you.
Absolutely.
Because you understand and you're able still to see that everybody has a spark of light in them. They're not acting with it. It's covered completely. And maybe the behavior was horrible, but still you're able to see even past that.
Absolutely.
And you can't do that without spirituality.
And related to that, I think, for me, if I think about tools like practical actions that we can take and do more of, study is a big one, right? So, when people think about, I don't know if it's spirituality, self-help, like you said before, too often it's within the confine of comfort, which is people come to spirituality from many different places. They want more, or they want to understand more, but it's all within a framework that is comfortable and a framework that is logical. And what I can guarantee is that unless you become uncomfortable, and unless to some degree you do illogical things for the purpose of caring for your soul, it will be very difficult to actually make your soul as alive as it's meant to be. So for instance, when I talk about study, it's not just concepts that we can understand, that make sense to us, that are practical, but the real purpose of study, and that's why, in kabbalistic terms, we talk about scanning of the Zohar and things like that, because the soul is at a different wavelength than the mind. And I think too often we make the mistake of thinking, and by the way, understanding spirituality is very important. Studying for the purpose of understanding is very important. But there's another part to that, and it's the feeding of the soul. And if the only time you study, or the only time you are engaged, is when it's something, oh, I understand this, oh, I understand this next one, I understand the next one, there isn't an element of your study that is simply for the fact that my soul needs to be fed, so that it's alive more and more and more, then we will miss a big part of our soul.
I think it's the consciousness you have when you're using tools. A lot of times people go through actions, but what are they thinking while they're doing it? If you're just doing the action, you think that alone is actually going to elevate you, change you, feed your soul. It's not enough. It's what you're thinking while you're doing it. It's what you understand the act of doing to be. Right? If it's just something you're checking off because it's the right thing to do, or it's good for you, it's not really going to do all that much.